Nick, tell our listeners why they would be interested in taking this course opposed to another course they could find online.
Not to talk bad about any other course, but I guess what sets us apart is that this isn't something that you're just going to buy and then watch alone, right? It's not a pre-recorded, scripted course. This is a very interactive course. We're gonna have a healthy discussion. For example, I might ask a question and say, James, what do you think the answer is to X, Y, Z? Sherry, do you agree with James? Ben, who's right, Sherry or James, and why? It helps bring out the parts in the topic we're discussing that people aren't grasping, which allows us to do a better job as coaches to inform and clarify. It also helps other people understand and learn from each other. That's one part of this that's very unique, is that we're in there. We're engaging, right? You're gonna ask us your questions, we're gonna ask you back, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. It's also not just the basics that you hear people talk about, right? What's everyone talk about? They talk about delta, they talk about theta. This is kind of the extent of what people talk about these days. There's a much deeper understanding concepts of options that really have led to us being, what do we average? About 90+% on our trades we win. There's a reason for that. It's not because we're just looking at delta and theta and that's it and calling it a day. No, there are certain things, certain criteria that we look for in the market within these option chains, within these companies to decide, am I selling this option? Am I buying an option? And how do we do that? Do we use defined risk, undefined risk? Everything I'm saying, what do these words even mean? Well, by the time you're done with this course, Greg, they know exactly what I'm talking about. Every word I just said, they'll know like the back of their hand. You know, what you've come to respect the most isn't even just that part, which is, you know, the bedrock of everything, but how we've mechanized the approach to putting on a trade and managing the trades.
I mean, managing the trades is the most important thing, right? What do you do when you're in trouble in a trade? What do you do when your trade is down 100%, 200%, 300%? It's moving against you. Do you close it? Do you keep it open? Do you do something like an inverted strangle? What is that? Is that a good idea? What about when earnings are approaching and IVR is going through the roof and you don't know what's going to happen in earnings? Lululemon could have a 10% swing, right? Or whatever trade you're in could have a 10% swing. What do you do then? Do you take a small loss to avoid going through earnings? Do you go through it? How do you make that decision? What separates us apart is we're going to talk about how you make those decisions, whether to go through earnings, whether to close out at a certain percentage. We're not going to tell you what you should do. Everybody's going to have a different approach, but we're going to tell you how to think about it. And that's what sets this course apart, in my opinion, from watching YouTube videos.
That's a great point, Greg. I think, you know, one of the things that in the last course that I taught that really stood out that people were like, man, I've never thought about it that way, was the idea of, hey, this option might or will eventually go to zero. So I need to know I need to do something. And what they were trying to say was that with the stock, I don't have that issue. And I pointed out to them, that's actually not true. With the stock, you never know if it's gonna go down or up or zero or stay flat or just be a bad investment. At the very least with the option, you know it's got an end date. You know this ahead of time. People went all into Rivian. They didn't have that foresight. They didn't know. And Rivian, it's not doing good. Lucid, same thing, right? And we're seeing that now with AI stocks. At the very least with options, you know that this contract has an expiration date. And just knowing that allows you to really systematize how you use these in a way that's into your advantage. Managing the losers, managing the winners, that is what's gonna allow that 90% to be your profitable part of your entire portfolio.
Right, so this crash course is gonna be introductory concepts on everything you need to know about options, the mechanics on how to trade options, and how to manage risk. Those are the three core concepts that I think we're going to teach in this course. Is there anything else you want to add to that?
Yeah, I guess the only other thing is, you know, I get asked frequently, hey, I traded options before, you know, I've done covered calls, I understand, you know, the basics. Is this a good course for me? Obviously, you would expect me to say yes, right? Of course, I would expect someone in my chair to say that as well. But the truth is 70% of the people who attend the course, they have some exposure to options. And all that really means is that they grasp the topics a lot faster than the people who are starting from scratch. Most people hear delta and they're like, oh, you know, the odds are of it being in the money. Not actually correct. Most people hear about theta and are like, oh, it's just the contract losing value. Sure, how does it lose value? Can you explain that? Can you explain how it loses value so you can take advantage of that? Most people don't understand that. But once you understand these concepts, then it informs you when to place the trade, where to place the trade, what strike to choose. And don't even get me started on volatility, Greg. Don't even get me started on that. No one seems to understand volatility correctly.
That is the golden goose of option selling. We'll talk about all those concepts in the course.
Yeah, so if you like what you heard and you want to be able to listen to this video and understand everything in depth, then sign up for the course and look forward to working with all of them.
After you take the course, you can listen to us every week on Behind the Trade podcast. We'll be talking about the decisions we're making, how we're applying the techniques that we're talking about in this course, and hopefully that makes you and us a better trader.